Testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
We're live. It's Thursday. It's my Friday show on Thursday. And if you're part of my Patreon, you would know this. Okay, so let's start off. A lot of noise. Gardener's here. Doing a spring cleanup with the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, glory, yours, no favor. And your Son's name, our King and Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Okay, before I talk about what the title is, I'm just going to review something for you. When an unclean spirit goes out of a man, he goes through dry places seeking rest and finds none. Then he says, I'll return to my house from which I came. And when he comes, he finds it empty, swept, and put in order. Then he goes and takes with him 7 other spirits more wicked than himself. And other spirits, they enter, dwell there. The last state of man is worse than the first. Shall it also be with this wicked generation? I was reading, and I came across that, and of course I've read it before, obviously, but I cannot say anything more appropriate. I know, buddy. Yeah, say hi to you people. Anyway, I can't think of anything more appropriate than what we have today. Okay, now, yes, the term is yes, I will entertain any debate, any guest. If you want to appear here in person, or if you want to appear in a Zoom thing and we can record it in advance. You want to record it in advance? You want me to set up anything? Fine. Or if you want to just go in on the phone and do it live, fine. That refers to the reach out from 107. Okay? Because I'm not going to pull punches. I'm going to ask the questions that are not asked. I'm going to ask the questions that you want to be asked. Okay, so if you're a Patreon person and you're seeing this, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if it does, let me know what kind of questions you want me to ask. I know what I'm going to ask. Oh, yeah. Okay. Because we're told that the plan is working flawlessly. And despite, look, lies are lies. Innocent lies are innocent lies. And what's going on down in Texas, south of the border and crossing, and it's just atrocious. But I put it to you that this kind of thing is going on worldwide. This is one of the things that Trump shut down. That as it be so miserable. If you are a Patreon member, you'll notice that there were certain things that happened in California. Boy, I hate it when I'm right. So, yeah. Some 6,000 earthquakes, minor tremors, but then some big ones not really big, but 4 or 5. There's no question on earth, people. God is very merciful, and He's saying to a person that's there, get out. It's kind of like when a stranger comes into my house and, I rack my 12 gauge, which basically says in an international sound at 3:45 in the morning, get out. It's amazing how the governor, we'll talk about the gun control also, the governor of Florida, who I really, he's a son of a friend of mine I went to school with. And he's a hero as far as I'm concerned. He is an absolute hero. He's standing and taking it on the point. He doesn't let go, and he's doing what's the best for his people, which is admirable. Okay, especially in this climate. So, what does the deep state and the big media try to do? They try to assassinate him with editing and fake things. The good thing is that there's enough social media and other videos out to show the full scope of the answer that the governor gave. Okay, so this kind of stuff is just not going to fly. It's just not going to fly. Now, a further thing on the lawsuit against LBRY Incorporated. Interesting enough, when certain people, I won't mention names, when they move to the platform, with my encouragement, by the way, because they're being censored all over YouTube and everything else. Um, all of a sudden, the SEC wants to shut it down, and they want to shut it down on some bogus thing for tax evasion and security fraud and all this kind of security. It's a security and all that. Yeah, I could say the same thing with tokens that I've been using in games, tokens that I used in all kinds of things. I mean, you use that same literature. You can cyber currency, but also there are plenty of games where points are traded and stuff is done for different various games. I mean, it's going to involve. You want to put that broad stroke on it? Yeah, it's going to affect billions of people, and no. What it is it's again another attack on the First Amendment because they have found a way, and not all the speech on LBRY I agree with. I do not, but it doesn't matter. That is the key of the First Amendment. The key of the First Amendment is speech you do not agree with. Okay. Now, the bump stock ruling that Trump made when an executive thing or whatever was overruled by a federal district court. I don't know if the state's pursuing it or whatever, but it was just thrown out. So anything that Biden tries to do, there's already precedent for it to be thrown out. But additional, okay, the Second Amendment specifically says shall not be infringed. Now, it's fine for the criminals to be let into this country, the terrorists to be let into this country. They're shipped all over the country. They're not tested. They're released without bail, everything else. But they don't do the same for legal gun owners who want to protect themselves because obviously the cops are not going to do it. The cops here in New York are now civilly liable. Okay, they can be sued. Guess how much work you're going to get out of them. Okay, where they can throw away their 35-year career. Doesn't matter. Everything they own, gun. Yeah, that's gonna do really great for a recruiting poster. I can tell you that. So no, I don't know. As an introduction, if you're new to my channel, please subscribe, please like. You will find the truth here. Okay, that's right. Jesus is King. You will find the truth here. Okay, you will not find deceptions. You will not find lies. You will not find. You'll find facts, not fiction, facts. Yeah, I mean, look, people. Okay, upon wings M. Asks, I'm concerned about the rumblings in California. Everything. Okay, listen to me very carefully. Okay, there is a physical geological record that these things happen to that state on a fairly regular basis. Okay, so the problem is that before, like when Reagan was governor, it was very apropos to move there because it was too much on the pro than on the con. The con was wildfires, but they were managed better, right? The forestry was managed better, and then earthquakes, okay? And there was some logistical planning in that, okay? That went right out the window, okay? They built on everything that they should not have built on. I will tell you, they did the same thing in Florida. Really, in a lot of places, they built way too much. Okay. They did it here on the island. They built way too much. And by doing that, by not putting logistics first, infrastructure first, then specific types of housing that they could be sustained, you're gonna have a problem. You're gonna have a problem sooner or later. Okay. That's no offense of butts. Okay. Anybody can say what they want about Disney, but what he did show is in the foresight of getting all that property down in Florida and then building Epcot Center and building the whole infrastructure that he did for that thing, and then wiring it up and then having tunnels to which that he could run fiber at any given time, and he was running it in the 80s. I don't care about the other thing. I'm just saying that is good planning and good thinking. Okay. So the problem I see is when they turn around, they run these huge budget deficits, and it's like they want a national disaster, just like New York does, to pay for all their excesses that have not, and I'm a witness, and I don't know about California, I've been there in a few years, but I can tell you here has not gone into the infrastructure. My mother, if she was up here and she leaned against a telephone pole on Jerkin Turnpike, which is a major thoroughfare on this thing, there's so much on these poles that it would definitely fall over. I mean, if you go down the road, you can see that they're like this. So it doesn't take a lot of thinking to note that when we got hit with Sandy, we were actually fairly lucky. And we were out of power in some places for 2 months on Long Island. The next time, it's just going to be worse. It'll be worse. Okay. And yet, you still had power up and other things in the rest of the country. So figure what's going to happen when the sun finally gives us its whatever. And you don't know. You don't have any phones. You don't have any electricity. Your car doesn't work. If you're lucky and you own an old car like mine, it'll work. Mine worked because it's hooked up to the ground and it's a Faraday cage. Okay. So if you went for what I said, but where are you going to go? There's no fuel. Gas stations can't pump it. Okay. Thank you very much, Gilbert. Thank you very much. Um, What are you going to do? This is where I could say to you, God is showing us all these signs in the heavens. Is now Jupiter is a new sign. Um, there's no question that the solar system is being charged like a capacitor. Okay, and when it hits a certain crescendo level, there's going to be an event. Um, we can pray that the event, at least of a big CME like it was before, goes other than facing us, it goes in another direction. I said it's a 1 in 4 chance, no question about it. However, when you start getting all these 1 in 4 chances of things building up, you start to see that it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And it's happened before. But unlike before, we didn't have all these satellites, over 12,000, and then other kinds of junk up there flying over our heads. We didn't have a society built on all this tech with a linear delivery thing, which means there's only 3 days grace. 3 days grace for you, which means whatever city you're in, you only have 3 days worth of food if it's not trucked in every single day. Okay. That's the reality. Okay. And then you have these idiots, Russia, which there's no question is looking at the Ukraine, and what it's waiting for is China, because I guarantee you they're going to go off and attack China. I mean Taiwan. They're going to do the Taiwan or whatever, and maybe the Guam and the Philippines at the same time as Russia's is going to go ahead and launch something in the Ukraine, who's trying to bid for a NATO status. This just makes pure logical sense on their part. Okay, because what are they? They're people who look for weaknesses and take advantage of that weakness. Okay, and then you have activity in the Gulf with Israel. That's why I tell you, people, please, please, please pray for our Navy personnel. Black Hills of South Dakota, Gilbert. Yes. And I was explaining to them the other time I was on about a South Dakota fire pit, which is basically a tunnel that you're making in the dirt. You're cooking on one end of it, and you're feeding air and supplies of wood on the other end of it. And it's all in the ground. It's a very safe way to make a fire where you don't want it to be seen. You want to use low flames, and you want the hazard to be underneath the ground so you can easily snuff it out. Okay, so it's a great thing to know. South Dakota fire pit was invented by some mountaineer men. Now why am I on Thursday instead of Friday? I think I'm actually going to go up tonight. Thank you very much, Candy. Which means I'm good. I had some problems with my van. I found out what it was. A circuit board on my thing disconnected and was just hanging from a wire. So that's why when I hit I've hit some. Long Island is like Beirut. Okay, might as well be Beirut. The Long Island Expressway is so bad. I was able to duplicate the problem just by driving over the same double axle bump, and I mean, okay, boom. All right. And I wasn't going like 90. I was just doing 55. Oh. Anyway, yeah. So that's all fixed and tightened up. I knew it was something simple. The wires from my alarm system, the tire ups aged 20 years old. They broke loose, and it provides the power to the computer. It's part of the security system. So I redid all those wires, and it works fine. So it's good for another 20 years. The rest of it is just simple relays, so they're not. It's not solid state. It's just a receiver, and right. You want a bone? You want a bone? All right, I'll give you a bone. Come on. Yeah, I fixed it. okay, the right way, which means I can go up in the middle of nowhere and not worry about it again. That van only has 3 major socket connectors, okay? And I've redone all of them. So it's fine. It's really the 7.3 platform is an extremely reliable platform. It's very simple diesel, and it's extremely if you take care of it. If you change the oil, which I change religiously, and you keep clean fuel, which now I've taken care of that permanently with a fuel polisher, and a new fuel pump. I changed all my sensors. There's 3 sensors that can cause problem. I had one of them I couldn't get the part for. Of course, I drove it up to Vermont. Where does it go? Went up there. It went into limp mode. I made it up the mountain, and I had it changed. It's Murphy's Law. But now they're all new, so I don't have to worry about it for another 20 years. But I'm not going to let it go that long. I'll change those sensors probably every 10 years, something like that. That's the way I do things. I like to get things ahead. Like the cam sensor, I changed it before it gave me any problems. Things like this, I change. Like when I change the radiator fluid, I change the thermostat every time. Okay. This way, nice, clean, because I drive the van a lot. I do hard towing with it, and I want it to be tip top, which it is. And it's even better than it was when I bought it, which is good. My dog loves road trips. What's not to love? Okay, loves the van. There's something about the diesel, including when I drive my ML350. My ML350 has an oil leak right now they were supposed to fix, and because they changed the turbo, and it's been leaking oil ever since they put a new turbo. The original one self-destructed. So they changed it, and I hate that. If I did it, I would have, but I can't do that kind of stuff anymore because I don't have the abilities. But I miss it. I'm not going to tell you I don't miss it, but I'm determined to lose the rest of my weight this summer up in Vermont, swimming, hiking, everything. And because I'm going to be up there, I'm going to be eating to a minimum, which is good. Be up there with that crazy lunatic. And I'm probably definitely going to have something at the Sun Lodge hotel. So we'll do some kind of get together, and it'll be fun. So that's the big news. The other news is, like I said, Biden's catastrophe thing. Now, somebody was asking me about a trip that that Trump took, whatever. There's people that are posting past presidential trips, um, um, and they're acting like it's now. No, it's not now. It's past. Karen says she'd love to visit Vermont. Yeah, you guys try to set up a time. If I can get more than 10, you can get a definitely group rate at that Sun Lodge. We'll pick some months, July, August, something like that, because of the fact that it'll be very, very hot everywhere else in the country. It can get hot up there. I'm not going to tell you can't, but most nights you need a small wind break or something like that. The summers up in Vermont are spectacular. The winters, I really love the place geographically. What they've done to it with the government is just terrible. But it's okay. So that's what I'm trying to set that up. Basically, write to me, join my Patreon page, um, and work it out as far as I put the 2 months out there. So I'm going to put a poll, July and August, and we'll work it from there. Yeah, I need to I'm going on another big car trip in June, so I'm going to be traveling. More van stuff. Um, and then when I come back from that, I have some things I have to do here, and then it's going to be too hot, and I don't do well in the heat. I really, really do not do well in the heat. So because I don't do well in the heat, I don't want to run my air conditioner, stay inside and stuff. That's just stupid. Instead, I'd be better off just going up there and doing what I did 2 years ago. I felt good. I hated doing it, but it was very good for me. And I'll do some live. I can't do. I'll do some my regular uh, videos. Shots. I use my stable one and other things up there. It's I have to see where the bald eagles are nesting. If they nest close, that'd be great. They nest on the ridge again. That's kind of cool. I have to set up a telescope to see that. But you don't like the gardener. Anyway, so yeah, I mean that's basically what it comes down to because there's here everything is becoming very expensive. So I shifted my priorities. I discussed it with my wife, and we came to basically hunker down, conservative. But up there, it's beautiful up in the mountains and clean air, lots of life, lots of beautiful things. I mean, maybe even if you guys are up to it, we can get in some shooting. So we'll see. I do have some pull with my gun club up there. So, and there is a school if you want to learn how to shoot. Orvis has a school. If you want to learn how to fish, Orvis has a school. Now they're expensive, but they're probably the one of the best schools in the Northeast. I don't know what they're like in the Northwest, but it's very good schools, and they do a good job. And you'll get to see my lunatic Max and Allie. There's a couple of dogs up there that Max plays with. Okay, so so there's 51 people in here. It's good. So yes, the big announcement is again, I'm entertaining a possible reach out to invite. Person reached out to me to have Juan 07. We'll see if that comes, and we'll see what kind of things. But again, I am not going to pull bunches. Okay, I'm going to ask the hard questions because those are the questions you really want to be asked. Okay, if I was standing there with Biden and the press thing, I wouldn't ask about China, wouldn't ask about Russia, wouldn't ask about anything. I'd say, "Excuse me, Mr. President. Um, we're in a new solar cycle, and we're due for another Carrington event, and our magnetic field is 20% weaker than it's ever been in the past 700,000 years. President Trump was actually doing something to harden our electrical grid, and why did you nullify that? Why did you wipe that out to make us electrical grid vulnerable again? And did you know that there is technology and a plan to circumvent this from actually happening?" I would love to answer that question. I would probably take some time for his puppet masters to speak it into his cochlear implant. So we're getting on his teleprompter. Yeah. So that's what I would definitely. That's what I would definitely say. Okay. Um, I would pull no bones about it because that's the truth. Okay, that is the number one risk to this planet, and it's a risk that whether you're living in a tyrannical regime, which we kind of are now, the rest of the world, no matter where they are, they're in that regime. Thank you very much, Jim. It's a reality, and it's a reality that can be solved if it's addressed. Notice climate, global warming, climate change, all this other stuff is it's really it's valid, not from the human beings, but definitely if that kind of thing happens, the climate is definitely going to change. Has the climate changed with the 60 eruptions in the past 30 days? You better believe it. And now another super volcano is starting to show it's breathing warm. I want some room, man. Um, yeah, and just to let you know, I mean, there's been more CO2 released in the past 30 days than the human species has released in 12 years of everything we've done. Okay. That's fact. I don't want to acknowledge that fact, but that's fact. Okay. So, yeah. Still, all partial pressure is still about 500 parts per million. Not really a lot considering that 100 million years ago it used to be 10,000 parts per million. Okay. Still, you know, no. Um, Not ever going to be that high again because there's just too much carbon that's sequestered in too much of the mantle. Okay. You have calcium carbonate, limestone. The whole Florida state is sitting on limestone. I mean, do you have any idea how much calcium carbonate is in that limestone? How much carbon? Then you got Virginia with its coal deposits and Tennessee. And I mean, then there's oil all over the world. What's at the bottom of the ocean? No, it'll never be back to those prior carbon levels. Life has thought to that. Okay. But that's not what we have to worry about now. What we have to worry about is the sun. What we have to worry about is super volcanoes going off because of the speeding up of the earth. That I say to you that this earth was speeding up, that I predict to you that there was going to be this rise of earthquakes and volcanoes. Did I not say this? Come on, guys. You get me on the July 19th, but you have to give me kudos for all these other things I was right about. And I own that. So the reality is the sad thing, and this is why we have to share this video. You have to share this video. Everything that I'm talking about, except earthquakes. Earthquakes is, yes, you can build the building, it's expensive to withstand an earthquake. But I mean, the reality is that people need to consider where they're living. Okay. Just like Puerto Rico. Okay. Puerto Rico, no ifs, ands, or buts. If you look at the history since the 1400s, okay, was in Hurricane Central. Absolutely. And you're a fool if you're in Hurricane Central and you do not plan and build for that type of specification. If you just build a shack that takes you a weekend to put together because it's built like crap, okay, and then you wonder why it's pummeled with a storm, or the infrastructure is not designed to withstand a Cat 5 hurricane, then they lose all the power and everything else, and it's out for months, and they're having all kinds of problems. and then they want billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars. You know, this is irritating to me. You all are seeing now the problems that are going to happen with California. Okay, you're seeing it. It's happened before, 1905, 1907. It's happened before. Okay, it's going to happen, and it's going to happen big. And when it happens, everybody's going to be like, "Oh, whoa, it's me. This is terrible." Blah 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 blah. We're not surprised. We're not surprised that Puerto Rico finally got hit with 2 Category 5 storms. We're not surprised. Okay. We're not surprised when a Sandy came up here and an Irene. That's not the first one. In 1938, they didn't even name the storms then. There was a storm that came up through Long Island and Connecticut and everything else, killed 130,000 people, basically flattened everything it went over. They don't even know how they just that was the storm. Everything was toothpicks. Okay, they didn't have the satellites and things that we have today that can spot these things in advance. That was the other thing. During Sandy, I was ready. I had 2 generators ready. I had all my extension cords ready. I had bought 2 dozen eggs. I had my bathtub was full of water. My pool was running. So in the worst, because I could use my pool to drink. I mean, I was ready. My next door neighbor, not ready. Okay, others not ready. And it was not a military secret that this thing was coming to hit us. They were talking about it for a week. There's 4 of them. Remember, there's 4 of them. Okay, one of them I used to work for. Okay, I don't have good things to say, but I can't say that because it's what it is. There's lots of people who have great things to say about him. I don't, because we'll call it that. Okay, I saw a different side. Yes, because I'm leaving to Vermont, so I'm not going to be here tomorrow. Okay, I have my van fully loaded. Been fully loaded for a week. I have a lot of stuff in there, and so I need to bring it up to Vermont. I didn't say that, for example, Rogers is not a patriot. Never said that. Okay. I said that I had major disagreements with the person. Okay. And I saw another side of the person that you guys haven't seen. That's fine. No. They're just they're just a leaf. I know the guys that actually do that too. I met them when I was down in Jacksonville. Oh my gosh. I mean, that's some seriously badass flying. Yeah, really, really crazy stuff. So, but you know, they do it because it saves lives. The pressures and the readings that they take tell everybody really what that storm's doing. Thank you very much, Barbara. Very appreciative. Have a wonderful trip. Catch a few trout. I don't think I'm gonna be catching any trout on this trip. I'm not gonna have that kind of time, and I kind of boo my ankle on my treadmill. So I'm fine. It's no big deal. It's just the rolled over ankle. Everybody does it. You know, it's okay. I've done it all my life. Yep, yep. I have a friend who's in Australia, and yeah, yeah. These are the things that happen. These are just a lot. I was just talking. Rick. I was reading Matthew 12 43. And why do I say that now? Because you see the type of things that are going on that people just it's no big deal. It's a big deal, and you'll have to answer for it. There's consequences to everything. And the other thing is that if you're not saved, if you don't have the Holy Spirit in your vessel, you are susceptible for these other bad entities, spirits, to take over your being. Okay. Yes, I've been sticking to my diet. My heart doctor's happy because I lost weight, but even though I lost, what I did was I lost muscle, is what I lost. I still think I'm in terrible shape. Terrible, terrible, terrible shape. But I'm gonna get better. Okay. I'm getting out there in the fresh air and I'm going to get better. That's the basis. So getting better is everything. But Rick, there should be nothing stopping you from catching trout. I mean, this is the time of year to get out your frying pan. Remember, it's a very good thing to eat. You can't eat too many of them. Okay, they're extremely good for you in many ways. Really are. Okay, so yeah, I think it's the best tasting fish I've ever had. I've had all kinds of fish, but I still it's a pretty fish too. It's a very pretty fish, but it's also a really really great tasting. Debbie, thank you very much. God bless you also. Hope all you had a great Easter, like I said before. And so the platform is still Library Incorporated. The app we have is Odyssey, Odysse. That's still in the App Store. I don't think it's going to stay in the App Store that much longer because Apple and all these people that are like, oh wait, you can say anything on this platform. Well, that's not good. Oh, I'm Terry. I'm so. Uh, the thing is, I just love and that kind of fish is really good for me. I love fish. That kind of fish. I just love it. There's no now. The key is it has to be fresh. It has to be caught. I mean, literally, my whole life has been literally 10 minutes, and I'm eating it. So you can't. I can't tell you how great it is when you literally catch it, bring it in your basket, and you put it on a frying pan. Oh, oh, so good. Yes, we have things there that we can't talk about here. I could talk about the blue sky. It's amazing, right? A planet that's rotating so fast, there's days that you're stuck in a hut and there's not a puff of wind and there's not a cloud in the sky. But if you're flying over land, bumpy as, especially now, like around noontime. Oh, if you're flying, it's not a problem. If you're a passenger, it's a problem. You get sick. Ugh, that's Terry. That is heaven. That is absolute heaven. My father, besides the fact that he was also a test pilot, he used to, and he didn't teach this to me, so I blame him for this. But he used to be able to go into the woods and come out with like a salad. It was amazing. So we used to have with the fish the salad my father had, and he always used to keep a vinegar and oil mix in his saddlebag, along with the Crisco that he used to fry the fish and bag of flour. Uh, it was good. I'm not gonna tell you it was great, but I miss the people I was with. I miss the times. That's part of the nostalgia of it, obviously. And smells are so powerful as far as bringing a memory back. Um, it's amazing how it can be transported right to that moment. Ramps are good. Yeah, my wife is very good at getting the ramps, and she's also very good at. Matter of fact, we're going to go ramp hunting on this trip because there was a tremendous snow. So when the woods have a lot of snow in them, which there was like 20 feet of snow, there's usually it probably still 4 or 5 feet of snow. But if there isn't, there's probably going to be a good bunch of ramps. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, my wife knows more about it than I do, believe it or not. Um, I know more about game. Okay, so I can get it. I'm left to she'll catch the fish. I get it. Uh, and um, things like that. So I don't mind. It's not really a big deal. It's the thing that really freaked me out one year is that I caught a perch. I think it was a yellow perch, and it had worms. And I later found out from my nephew that they could lay eggs into your skin. So now when I got fish, I use gloves. So what are ramps? They're kind of like a wild garlic onion scallion kind of thing. They come up in the woods that get some light, but not right on the edge of the cover of the woods. And yeah, they're really good. You can eat all of them. You can eat the bottom part, the top part, everything. Everything's edible. The other thing that's extremely edible is these buttercups they have up there, but growing wild. They're very tasty. The buttercups. Yes, leeks are very good, but you can't have too many of them. They can be toxic to your liver, and some people have a genetic predisposition to being, but they're not good for anybody to have too much of it. Okay, only certain proportions of them. Okay, you can look that up and you'll see because it's it can, and you have to cook it to be. If you eat it raw, it's more potent. I know, right? But it's really true. I won't even do the. I love mushrooms, but I do not have the. And all it takes is one, right? If you take the wrong one once, that's it. So one of the things we want to do this summer, my wife and I, we want to go on this. The forestry offers this, get nature guide and how to distinguish the proper mushrooms and stuff like that. Yep, Rick is exactly right. In Vermont, it's the damn places are where there's huge snow belts. Okay, so because you have to understand, Vermont is built basically a rock. It's rocks. It's mountain, and then it's all the deciduous material on top of those rocks that make up the soil. But you go down enough, you're hitting granite. Okay, or slate. Yep. So there's all kinds of mushrooms up there. I'm not going to tell you there's not, but I do not I That's not my thing. I don't know. I don't know enough to do that. I know what a ramp looks like. I know what a fiddle looks like. I know what the fiddle has. I know scallions. I know the dandelions. I know buttercups and daisies. I know things like that. Okay, pine nuts. Okay, yeah, those are the things I know. Um, and how to start a fire with nothing. I do not, and I don't pretend to know what I would need to know. My father used to know all those things. I don't know them. Yes, likes are very good. We have there's wild. First time I've seen a turkey fly was just with this lunatic, this guy. He actually gets them to fly into the trees because he's that fast. So uh, turkeys, and we have wild chickens up there, and they're probably they were domesticated, and they just decided to just one day they flew the farm, as it were. So, but they're on the mountain. There's a lot of we have lynx, we have bobcats, we have this other kind of cat, which is a Vermont. She's got her own website on Facebook group. She's a Vermont. She's on a mountain, and we have bears and moose. Moose are the most dangerous. They're huge. They're absolutely huge. When you see one, you're like, "What? how can how can they get that big by eating that crap at the bottom of the pond?" Um, they're huge. And there's got to be 1,000 pounds, 1,200 pounds on them. I don't even know how the people in the past, my ancestors, used to hunt them for survival. I would never even attempt to. I was like, how the heck am I going to get them out of that? It's not, yeah. So, yeah, these are wild. They're totally, yeah. Um, they're all over the place up there. So were the turkeys. They're all over the mountain. Turkeys, tons of 'em, big ones too. Good 12, 13, 14 pounders. I'm not kidding. They're big birds. They're not turkey vultures. They're turkeys. They're actual turkeys. I couldn't believe it. They do have a season for them. That's kind of the only thing that's on my. I mean, I buy the full, you know, thing because it helps with the preservation of the game and everything. Even though I know I'm not gonna take anything, I'm just gonna take the stupid turkeys or fish. But yeah, the only thing I can carry out of the woods is a turkey at this point. Unless I'm up there with my boys, I'm not gonna. So, but I'd love to go with a bunch of people and and bag a deer again. That'd be nice. Oh, the meat up there is so good. Yep, yep, and I know exactly how to prepare them too. I have a great, and now I have the Traeger, so I have a method to freeze them, and I have a method to cook them and smoke them. Mm. And I just had a country stack of ribs that I cooked. Oh, I think it was 6 hours on my Traeger Applewood. By the way, keynote Applewood, very good for pork, very good for all kinds of pork, very good for chicken. Okay for corn on the cob. Okay, do not use it for potatoes or any vegetables. It partakes a very weird taste. Um, very weird. It's not gonna kill you, nothing. It's just like a weird aftertaste. So found that interesting. Um, yeah, but it's very applewood is fantastic what it does to pork. Wow. Yeah, my whole thing is I want to be able to buy or build, probably buy a used one to fix it That'll be a project. A nice ATV, you know, and trail it up there, or keep it in storage up there or something like that. That's that's more my speed now with a winch, a whole bit. So yeah, and there's a lot of people buy them and then they're selling them, whatever. And something breaks on it. I can I was welder, so I can fix anything. Um, that's the other thing. If you own a diesel truck, get some 1718 rods, keep them in your back. Um, get some jumper cables, a good thick jumper cables. If you wire two batteries, okay, in series, all diesel trucks have two batteries. You wire them in series, and you make the electrode negative. Okay, the ground is positive. You can do some serious DC arc welding with a CD as your glass shield. Enough to which that it can actually won't be the best weld in the world, but it'll get you back running, especially if you're in the middle of nowhere. Just say. So on my truck, I have exactly what I just said. Um, the deer are fantastic. Okay, I just love everything about them. It's a very very lean, good meat. Um, I have special marinades for it. It's really good, and I do not butcher it. No, people, no, no. The only thing I'll do is gut it, and I bring it to my local butcher up there, and he does everything. Makes it all nice and wrapped. Okay, been years. Okay, but that's look. You know, my next door neighbor here was a butcher. Okay, so I never learned. Okay, my father, he learned, he knew, but after we saw my next door neighbor do it, wow. Okay, he came over with his belt and his knives are like like a surgeon. Oh my god, you see one of these guys just it's amazing, amazing. Yeah, I love cherry wood, but very strong, but it's good. Any other questions about what's coming up and how to deal with stuff? And like I said, uh, yeah, uh, I know. My uncle Joe used to make the best. Oh, it was so good. Deer sausage. It was so good. Oh, oh boy, it was really, really good. Well, there you go. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I could do it to survive, but I mean, not like no. When you see a professional butcher used to work in a slaughterhouse, this guy, I'm telling you, I'm not kidding. He would take apart that deer in as little as 10, 12 minutes. That thing was it was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Terry, you did. That's what my great uncle Joe did. He took an outhouse on the farm and that's exactly what he did. A 55-gallon drum and made a pig stove out of it. And we used to feed that, and the output of that went into this old outhouse that with leather he sealed everything up, and he used to hang whole, whole pigs in there, and you name it, and yep, yep, and we'd be feeding it with that wood all day. I remember all day, and he had a thermometer in it, and he had a thing to adjust the top vent and a thing to adjust how much was going into it. Yeah, it was pretty My uncle was my grandma. He was a heck of a carpenter. And you can see he just loved work, and I do too. I love working my hands. I love it. I just love doing that kind of stuff. It's fun. Yeah, it's nothing like it. And he ate bacon and eggs every single day of his life. Okay, and he lived to 98 years old. The only reason why he died is because his wife died. Okay, that's the only reason. He put her in the ground. He went to sleep and never woke up that night. Literally, he you have to understand that Charlie. He knew her since he was 6. I can't even comprehend that. Could you imagine? Uh, uh, and he looked like Jimmy Stewart, and he talked like Abraham Lincoln. It was a very weird thing listening to this guy talk because his. I have to show you the timing is an article of it. Anyway, he was very measured. U.S. senator, very measured, very scholar, but had an extreme dry sense of humor, an extreme wit, and was extremely fast with it. Um, and he was just he was just he was like I said, he was up every morning at 4:30. He was sleeping at 9 o'clock every day. The coffee he would make in the morning was just like the coffee my father used to make. My grandfather. Yeah, if you stuck a fork in it, it might either if it was made of metal, it might disintegrate it. If it was made of wood, it might not float. And they drank it black. Oh gosh, yeah. No, I don't. I never used it. It wasn't. It was set up as this thing. I never used an outhouse. They had it. He had done the plumbing. He had done the plumbing in that house because the house I think went back to 1847 or something like that, or 50, something like that. The farmhouse, and he dug the well and he erected the windmill, and he built the water tower, and he did the plumbing. The plumbing to the house was down 4 feet, and it was the old like I don't know from the 30s, a tank above the commode kind of thing with a pull on it. And the kitchen sink was the same. The hot water was coming from the back of the wood stove. There was a copper pipe thing on it and everything else. It was no pumps, slow gravity. It was very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Boy, was that place hot in the summer. Oh. Um, yeah. So yeah, he had an old red Ford tractor. Oh, I don't even know how old this thing was. It was probably from oh, I don't know, 50s, something like that. And yep, I miss those days. And that whole place is gone. It was the kids sold it to a real estate developer, and they built all houses on it. And the money's gone now too. That's what you get with the new generation. So Cowboy coffee. I know how to make cowboy coffee. My cowboy coffee is actually pretty good. Because I don't cook it for an hour and a half. Just literally 18 to 20 minutes. That's it. Okay. Uh, yeah. Well, it's lakefront property. I think 875 or eight. I don't know the 800 and something acres, and it was beautiful. Right on the lake, and beautiful apple orchard, beautiful farmland, and like I said, the house was a family house. It was the family house, and when stream stopped. Testing 1 2 3.
Testing 1 2 3.
Nope. I'm streaming LTE on this. That's why I do that. I don't even use the Wi-Fi. I I stream it on there to make sure that. Yep, that's what you do. You pour. You don't use anything. You just put the coffee in. When you get a rolling boil, you put the coffee in, and then you continue to. And in the end, you just pour some cold water down the spout, and it settles the grounds. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. That's campfire coffee. So what are you guys doing this weekend? I know where I'm going to be. I'll try to shoot some video up there. It's beautiful. I had a lot of frost heaving and frost damage and intrusion into my roof. So I got to worry about that. The last time we were up there was really leaking. So I do love them, but I don't know enough to pick them because I don't. Okay, if you're not an expert, if you pick the wrong one once, that's it. Okay, so I know what I know, and I know I don't. No, I don't know. Okay, so I mean, I know when they're served to me, but I don't know enough to pick them. Yes, and I don't agree with it. Okay, and the reason why I don't agree with it is because it doesn't matter. You see what I'm saying? It really does not matter. Okay, are these gun rules coming down? Yes. Are these other rules and things going on? Yes. Did they drop 108,000 and probably at least, few hundred, if not more, MS-13 people right to Long Island? Because I can show you where there's burglaries all over the place here, home invasions. Then I'm being reported on the news because it's Governor Cuomo's state. They don't want to do that. They didn't report it when Sandy was here. Okay, I heard it right from my neighbor across the street who's no longer here. Okay, where was he? He was across the street. He was he was he was protecting his family. Okay, yeah, yeah. Well, and what did the MS-13 do? Oh, instead of the governor moving the National Guard in before the storm, having them in place, they were either looting the R word or invasion of house and said houses and whatever. Okay. Basically, they do what they want here because they know the police will leave them alone because they're afraid of them. And meanwhile, they have an easy ticket, which is to go after lawful gun owners. That's much easier. You haven't had my coffee and my Cuisinart where I put beans in and stuff, so you can't say that. So if you guys come up and you have my coffee, then you'll be like, okay, this is pretty good, Bob. Yeah, plastic straws. They're all about the plastic straws. They're not about plastic bags or plastic cups or plastic polyester clothes that have been put into the ground for the past 70 years. You're like, what? What are you talking about? Do you wash your polyester pants and polyester clothes? You don't even know how much polyester is in there. You know that breaks down into nanoplastics. Do you know that plastic has gone into our water supply? Do you know if you don't have a filter that filters down to 0.02 microns, that you would be drinking that plastic? Did you know this? You know. If you watched my video and my radio show that I did on this 2 years ago, you know it. Sure, why not? Bob member says heard giving illegals $12,000 checks. Why not? They're going to give everybody, your color, you're this. I'll give you money. Well, I'm going to tell you right now. You want to know what's going to go on? It's very simple. Just do this in your mind. Pretend it wasn't 12,000. Pretend it's $1 million to all these people. Then think about how much a gallon of milk is going to be in a bodega or a store, or for that matter, anything. Okay, you think it's going to be? No, it's not. Nope, it's not going to be 24. Not even be $50 for a gallon. Nope, nope, no. It would be $500,000. Money is supposed to represent work. So if you did nothing to get that money, then the money is worthless. It's very simple. And that's why they're cracking down on cyber currency. Yeah, exactly. You know what I see here during the pandemic? I see lines around the block going in. This is millennial idiots going into Starbucks to get their caffeine fix. The worst coffee, by the way. And they're spending $8, $9 a cup. Ridiculous. And coffee, you should know everything about coffee is the water. Some of the best coffee I have is up in Vermont because I have good coffee, yes, but I have fantastic spring fed mountain water. Okay. It's water that's coming out of the heart of the mountain. 45 degrees all year round. Doesn't change. Okay. It's really good. And that's it. So when you have really good water, you're going to have really good coffee. You're going to have really, I'll tell you, when I take a shower up there, I wash my hair. It's fantastic. Really is good. Definitely, nice having without all that chlorine and crap. Yeah, I have to watch it with the iced tea. I used to love iced tea. I can't have iced tea for another year and a half because of those pills that the tannic acid promotes. Makes you get gallstones. Artisan well, yeah. Artesian well, yeah. Well, we have a river that runs underneath the line. We have pretty good water here in Long Island, but then there's the problem of as far as what was done to it. So what was here 45, 50 years ago? Okay, well, you had potato fields from whatever, and then you had the aerospace industry, and then they were putting all kinds of crap into it, such as MEK and toluene and potato fertilizer stuff to stop it, whatever. That's all coming into the water supply now. We get the report. It's not good. So I have a special filter system that takes a lot of that out because But so it's not the same. I'm telling you, it's not the same. Up in Vermont, there's nothing. It's really nice. Um, well, it's amazing how they work as far as That I don't know who you're talking about. If you're talking about the Florida congressperson, I don't think he's guilty of this, but it doesn't matter because the person who is guilty of it is not getting any attention. So if there's 8 women, you got to know there's at least 48. And Cuomo is, hey, he's going to get a pass. He's not going to get, no, the problem. Oh yeah. Well, I actually, unfortunately, I knew him, or at least I used to know him back in the day. You know what? Hold on a second. Yeah, he didn't want to be on the air. That was good faith. And nobody wants to be on the air. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Bernie owns 3 houses. It's amazing in a very communist state. He doesn't live he lives like the party members do, but he doesn't. Doesn't practice what he preaches. No, none of them do. Okay, they they want you to do as they say, but not as they do. It's very important. Um, no, I'm not going to. I'm not going to look for that. I mean, the reality is, I put it out there. Things coming my way, and we'll see what happens. Uh, you know. So, I mean, the reality is this: I speak truth. Nobody wants to hear truth. Okay. If I'm telling you from the get go, if we heard truth from the get go, truth. Okay, just truth, just the facts from 1947 on. Okay, period. Things would have been a lot different. People would have been woken up and they would say, wait a second, what? That's just a fact. Okay. Those are the facts. And then you could deal with the real problems which are not going away. They will affect you sooner or later. So, can you do something about it? Yes. Can you get yourself a ham radio license? Absolutely. Okay. The exam now is not that difficult. Can you buy a packet radio, ham radio? Sure. They're not that expensive. Can you be prepared with food, place to go to? Absolutely. There's many prepper sites. Canadian Prepper is probably one of the best sites. Okay, but a good old boy like Rick knows exactly what to do because he grew up poor. Okay, and poor people know how to survive with nothing because they have to. So they're a lot better off in the long run because they know how to deal with it. City folk, not so much. I was lucky because I was born into a family that we we took the tradition very important. I'll have a great trip. I'll have a great trip. Great. It's great, if I leave tonight, I might leave. I might leave this afternoon late. Like 5:30, something like that. Maybe today. Van's all packed, so um, the traffic's going the other way. It only takes them about 4.5, 5 hours to get up there from here. So, you know, that's good. Yeah, well, that's nothing. Wait, you're gonna see Southern California. You know, I pray every day. I pray God just keep your thumb on it because there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be really. Yep, ANN. My wife's name is Ann. Yep, and Max. Max will be going as well. Max, all dogs I've had love Vermont. Okay, they love it. What's not to love? It's wide open space with grass and smells from everything and bear scat. And did I ever tell you guys this lunatic found bear scat and rolled all over it? Oops. Yeah, I hit my finger. So yeah, he thought, and he's so proud. He's like, comes over to me. He's like, "Hey, Bob, how you doing?" My wife is coming up. It was in the summertime. She was coming up that night. He was covered from head to foot with bear scat. He, you know, oh, probably rolling his back in it and everything else. Got him down to the pond. I had to take him to the side of the house. I was hosing him down. Oh, it was just terrible. And it still smelled afterwards. Got all that bear scent stuff in it. He thought it was the greatest thing. Crazy. Oh yes, that thank God that has not happened. You know, that almost happened to me. Okay. I'm up there and a family of skunks coming towards me. Okay, because I had dog biscuits and stuff like this, and they're they kind of I think they wanted theirs, and I'm like, oh no. Oh, good. Well, the scripture today was Matthew 43, 12:43, and there's no questions on that, right? You want to know questions? Yeah, he is a good one. 12:31. Therefore, I say to you, every sin and blasphemy will be forgiven men, but the blasphemy against the Spirit will not be forgiven men. Ugh, that's that backhand again. I don't want to even go there. Yeah, I do that kind of driving. I drive for long periods of time. Everybody thinks I'm crazy, but if you saw my rig, I'm very comfortable. I got my captain's chair. I really need to clean my van, but just haven't had a chance. I'm gonna clean it while I'm up in Vermont. I'm gonna put that coin thing in and give it a good pressure wash. Yeah, that's a good thing I'll do up there. I could bring some flour up there. I gotta remind myself to bring flour too. I'm thinking we're gonna do some baking. So yeah. I loved flying and I don't mind driving. Don't mind. I hate flying now. I flew with my friend. It sucks. It's just nuts stuff in your ear and oh god, horrible. To me, I just get on the expressway. I set my cruise control usually 6 miles faster than the speed limit, something like that, and I get in the right. I watch everybody go by me. I don't care. Turn my tunes on, sit back and relax. It means I don't have to do anything. I just straight down the road. So yeah, I heard. Didn't you hear that now too? Yeah. You think that they're not watching my channel? They didn't learn my plans. My plans are because I do want to block the sun when there's a CME, which means basically opening up this cascade umbrella when a CME, and you'll have plenty of time to do it. The CMEs only travel like 1,000,000 miles, 1.5 million miles an hour. They don't travel the speed of light because it's the particles, it's stuff. Okay. So this lunatic wants to put these things in orbit and permanently shadow the Earth. It's crazy. Yeah, he wasn't talking about Lagrange one. You know, that's where you want to be. You want to be between Venus and the Earth orbit. You want to be. There's a place that you can actually park stuff, and it'll stay perfectly. We have things there already. These satellites that look at the sun and everything else. That's where they are. Okay, and you can definitely put them there, and they can be sacrificial, and they can infer they can do the job, and it can be done. It's really not that expensive. Yeah. Well, I fixed my van, so I redid all my grounds. Two of them were really iffy. I'll tell you. I live here on an island. That's a problem. So it was a good thing, and it really was a blessing in disguise because I would have just had to do it when I was up there and in middle of nowhere, and it's never good. This way, it's all controlled. I have it. She's done. I don't have to worry about it for another 20 years, and yeah, it's what you want. So now my cruise control light just went out of my dash. I have to. One of these days, I have to reach in there and change the bulb. That's a pain in the ass too, because I might get my friend to do it. It's it's a pain getting your hand up there to do that. Yeah, because he wants a charge for the sun. What I want to know is how all these solar panels are going to work when you block the sun. Nobody said this to him. Oh, you want to block the sun, but what are the solar panels going to do? Wait a minute, isn't your thing about solar power? Now, I'd like the sevenfold. As soon as I start saying that, may God give you sevenfold what you give. I hear the click now. I don't even get the chance to finish it. In the name of Jesus Christ, I say this to everybody. All these spam calls. I'll give you a report. Give you guys a report. Silver's still at 25.61, but they're out of stock. Everything. I ask you, how much was toilet paper going for when it was out of stock? It's like they're trying to fool somebody. Then and 1 ounce bars are selling for 30.80, and they're still out of stock. See what I'm saying? That doesn't really make much sense, does it? Okay, so Space World News. See, we had a little snot this weekend. Last weekend. But there's stuff developing on the other part of the sun. Yeah. Oh. And then the earthquakes. Sales of coronavirus. See. Anyway, that's what you got to look at, folks. Those are your main things. I'll be broadcasting something on an emergency basis as soon as an event happens. I will tell you. Okay. I will not keep it a secret like the others are trying to keep it a secret. Yeah, the big thing is to stock up on stuff. I don't know why everybody makes this whole thing about toilet paper. It's like, I don't know if you guys realize, but the old days they didn't use toilet paper. They basically had ass wipes of the sort that they washed, and they reused them. And yeah, if you're on a boat, that's what you have to do sometimes. Yeah, coffee is definitely going to be there's going to be a commodity for sure. I sent you an email. Check your junk folder. It only goes junk. I sent you an email, Patriot 45. All my emails are going to junk. So I respond. I say, yes, I'm interested. I said that. And I said specifically the items that I'm going to talk about, which are the items that nobody wants to talk about, which are the items that I talked about then, which are now coming true now. You know, just check your junk folder. Everybody here, check your junk folder for my emails because that's what they're doing. Isn't that wonderful? Yeah, exactly. All my stuff goes to spit. Now, I did respond, but I responded as soon as I got it. But like I said, all my outgoing mail goes into your. So I don't know. You know, I'll tell you that's the thing. There's some roots of plants that you can roast and dry out, and then you can grind and make coffee out of it. It's supposed to be pretty good. Yeah, exactly. Even though you told it not it's not junk, guess what? Still does it. Yeah, and you don't think the ass wipes are doing this. They've been doing this to me for 3 years. Okay. Done it. You know, I'll explain to you something. My son's, you guys want to hear a story? I'll give you a story. I'll give you a funny story. This is self-deprecating. It's another thing you won't see our leaders do. Okay. So my kids, I guess it's like 97. So Bobby is like 11 and James is like 7. And so we go on this trip And I have, I'm telling you, I got spare parts for everything. I got spare parts for the engine. I got spare injectors. I got spare alternators. I got spare, you name it, I got spare everything except a Jacobs valve. You're like, what? What the heck is a Jacobs valve? It's a valve that goes on the toilet on a manual head that allows it to work with the poop and stuff. Okay, Jacobs valve. My son, um, he used like a half of a toilet paper roll to flush and wipe, and being that age, he basically pressurized the head. Okay, to which that he busted the Jacobs valve and he couldn't do anymore because it was a anyway. I did I didn't have the parts. Okay, so I had to stop in Montauk Lake. There was a chandlery there. I ordered the parts, but I was going to Block Island, so I told him, I said, put it on the ferry and I'll meet it at Block Island. But the thing is, I'm already like 4 or 5 days without a John. Okay. Oh my God. If you don't know how bad that is, it's bad. Okay. Anyway, so I get the parts and I go in the head, I get on my knees, I undo the fittings, and whether fermentation or the kid just pressurized it to like 25 psi or whatever, the whole toilet system blew up in my face. Okay, to where I was covered with poop and yeah, you guessed it. And I turned to my family and I go like this, and this is a sight that I'm hearing about forever now. Okay, they were laughing hysterically about. I'm glad it happened in the bathroom because it was a wet bathroom. I mean, you take showers in it. But yeah, after that, of course, I would always carry extra everything to that head. And it's a good head. It's a Jacob Spaniel head. I had 3 sets of you name it. You get it? You ready? Never replace them ever again. Oh, yeah. And it was, like I said, something to see. Yeah. More, my wife said it was more coffee-ish at that time. Yeah, I have hot and cold running water. That boat holds 110 gallons of fresh water. That was our biggest commodity, believe it or not. We were always getting, you know, 5 gallons of fuel to get 110 gallons of water, or like 2 gallons of fuel. It was really not fuel. It's really the big thing, water. So this year I was going to purchase a water maker and install a water maker into it. I'll do it next year. But you will never hear your leaders talk about that kind of moment. Yep. I can only imagine what I look like. I know I was smelling poop in my nose for didn't matter, how much I washed. It was bad. But it's okay. It's what let's just say that, it's the way it is. It's no, I was covered in high pressurized poop that was spraying out of the head and hitting my body. Okay, so I took off my clothes and proceeded to wash right there. If I went anywhere, I would get poop on everything. So no, I had to wash and disinfect the entire head right there. That's a shower, so it wasn't, you know. Thank God I had hot water. Besides, we were in Block Island in the summertime, and you don't swim in certain places. There's so many boats there. They supposed to pump their poop in a pump boat that comes, but a lot of people just dump it overboard. And yeah, but my family got and still get you know um, smiley faces about it. I'm willing to tell the tale. I tell exactly what happened, right, Max? Anyway, I tell the tale. So that's real. I mean, that same trip we went on nor'easter, and we were fine. All hell. I have video of it. All hell was breaking loose behind us. Um, yeah, it was really rough, and yeah, we were fine. That's the biggest thing you have to make sure of. You have to really, really, really. Every year, I would go over my ground tackle religiously because that's it. Your boat is 10 tons, and then they add wind to it. So everything is about the ground tackle. You got to make sure that's solid. I had put it around a winch, but also I tied off cleats to it. And I think that the most dangerous time was in the middle of the storm. I had to go out and check it. Of course, I had my harness on, everything tethered, and the works. Yep. Well, it's what you do. Some of the best times I had were summers on that boat with my boys. So that was the second summer that we had the boat. Yep. Yep. In the years that we had the boat, I logged about 7,200 miles of ocean time on that boat, up and down the whole coast every year. Every year we planned a big trip. I mean, there were years. Oh, I remember this year. Um, we would just see so many things: whales, big sharks, lots of nature. Yeah, it was neat because my son was into pirate treasure and stuff like this. So he got a copy of all the logs from Captain Cook and Blackbeard and stuff like this. And you were reading these logs and what they saw and stuff, and how they saw Block Island as a hammock coming out of the ocean. It was very interesting. And it was weird going to these little, I call them gunk holes. There's nobody there, but it's a really nice place because you can't get there with a powerboat or anything. It's just too far. And yet you're in the middle of nowhere. There's no feet. There's no walk of sand. There's nothing. So we were on a little self-contained, system, and it's neat, and it was fun. My sons had they bought a used metal detector, white one, and he used to go out looking for the treasure when they'd come and say, "Oh, Dad, we just found a ring or some gold chain," wherever they were disappointed because they didn't find the. They were thinking they were going to find this mother lode. So, but it was an educational thing because it taught my sons how to navigate. It taught him, how to read maps, things like this. And I was making it into, I didn't mind them pursuing that. They learned a lot, so it's fine. It later on saved him. He lost everything one time on deployment, and he had to he navigate back to the ship, um, basically blind, and he did it with dead reckoning and navigation stuff that he learned from me. I learned it from my father. So, and he learned it on Starlight. Something that I couldn't believe, but they don't teach in the Navy. They don't teach it in the academy. I couldn't believe it. Well, you might not have. Do no, no, you would not have said that. Yeah, no, worse. Worse. It was bad. You know, 4 days pressurized, fermenting, not good. And there's usually these tablets you're able to put. No, Max, enough. There's tablets that you're able to put. No, there's tablets that you're able to put in there. They're blue, and they cut down all that from happening. But because the whole system was made inoperative, you couldn't do that. So instead, it just kind of fermented, you know. And yeah, like I said, I was smelling it for the rest of the trip. Not in there. It smelled the bleach in there, but in my nose, and yeah, just something you can't get rid of. It made the men. I'm telling you, it made the men that they are today. That boat, Starlight, made them understand. I mean, we used to work on, but my wife used to call Hell Week. It was really more like a month, and we did everything. We would repack the winches. Bobby would go up to the top of the mast and do the blocks and check the rigging and everything. And then James would help, with the engine and checking the mounts and stuff like this. Then there was the teak. Bobby took pride in his teak. He'd have a teak cockpit, and he would make that really nice. And then I'd personally wax the whole thing, and Bobby and James and my wife would do the bottom coat. And the first year I had it, we tore. Actually, my wife did. She sanded all that off because women have the best feel for that, right down to the virgin gel coat. And then we used this new latex ablative paint, and so yeah, it kept the bottom really smooth every year and wouldn't build up. So it was good. And it's important that you do the work on your boat because, again, if you're 500 feet from the beach and you're in a 4-knot current, you can't swim that. So you got to know every system on that boat because you're taking her out in the ocean, and it's even worse, right? So you got to know every inch of that boat. So that's what things. That's what I miss. I was looking forward to doing Starlight's work this year, but I just can't afford it. It's okay. No, we came across 2 jars of beans. That was it. So I pulled them. I ate both of them. I got to do my beans when I get back from this probably the next week. I'll start making up the solution. That takes a week in itself just to make the solution, and then doing the beans. I use fresh takes. I process that in a day, so that's not a problem. And then the actual pressure canning is done in an all American canner. I can do 21 jars at a time. No, the gray water is just sink water stuff that goes right into into the ocean. It's not. We use special soaps that are not bad for the water, so we don't have a problem with that. It's the black water that we have to pump. We get it pumped out. Not the gray water. I like wash. No, no, that's fine because we use stuff that's safe for the ocean, so it's not a problem. But on an RV, you don't have that luxury of just dumping. You know, you need the gray water in the RV because the first thing you do is the black water, and then you do the gray water to wash everything out. Yeah, black water, it's pumped. What I did was the thing only came with a 5 gallon black water tank, which is at the time I used to have a problem because I just got over my surgery, and yeah, they just had to got rid of my colostomy bag and reattached everything. So I was a little OBS for a while. So I needed more than 5 gallons. I changed it to a 15-gallon system, and that was hard, um, you know. But it's designed. It's a MATT12 Shannon 350, 1989. She was built in France, and it's a good boat. It's a very good boat. It's a young man's boat, though. You know, although my wife and I, discovered how great it is. But personally, myself, I'd like a nice 54-foot, something like that. Little more room, a lot more comfort items, you know, things like a washing machine, dishwasher, things like that. Um, that's what I'd like. But that's like a brand new one. I wouldn't get a brand new one, but even a used one is, million two, something like that. My boat now is worth probably about, if I fix it up and get it nice and redo the bootstrap and everything else and the graphics and the windows and stuff, it'd probably be worth about 180,000, something like that. I don't think it was Charlie Hunt. I'll give this last question. It's Charlotte Hunt. I don't say that. I say that what happened was the people who were put in charge did not hold the line. They didn't call out Jesus' name. They didn't let the military do what they needed to do, and there was 3 emergency evacuations that were canceled. That's a fact. So then everything else goes by the wayside. So I don't believe anything else as far as that's concerned because I've had one-on-one meetings. All right. Like I said, one of 12. If I say one of 12, it means think about it. What's one of 12 in this Navy? Think about it. So those are the real things. When you meet people, and again, these people did not divulge anything and say anything. Like I said, we were talking about the weather. No oaths were broken, but I'm telling you right now, when I have a meeting with people, I can have a meeting with Rick, and we can be talking about fishing. Okay. And because I've known him for some time now, he'll know exactly what I'm saying and what I'm talking about just by looking at me eye to eye. He'll know exactly what I'm saying. I don't have to say it. He knows what I'm saying. There's other people here that know me as well. Same thing. Okay. Um, that's real. I have not lied to you. I'm telling you facts and truth. Okay. And like I said, say it was all true. Say whatever it was. They're saying whatever they're running. Dave's saying August now or whatever. Oh, no dates. Oh, now the new. Oh, okay, the newest thing is Dave saying, and others are saying that it's not impossible in 2 years for the president to be voted Speaker of the House. I mean, President Trump, even though he's not elected to Congress. Never been done before, by the way, but it's technically constitutional. And then having the Biden administration arrested, and then having impeachment on both of them, and then he become. Are you kidding me? Do you think we have that kind of time? We don't. Okay, we don't. What did Israel just do? What is Russia doing? What's China doing? We don't have that kind of time. I wish we did, but we just don't. And then what's going on with the sun? What's going on with the earth speeding up? You're going to see more earthquakes, more volcanoes. Okay, it only takes one. Doesn't take. It just takes one to make all out chaos. So it's what they want, because the chaos they control. This is what they want. They want it. Okay. They want war. You've seen it. There's no question that they want war. They want to send your boys and girls overseas while they send the UN to come in here and take your guns. That's what they want. The newest thing now, he's saying you have to produce a need. That's not what the Second Amendment says. Okay. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you're safe. And yes, I'm welcome to any debate or any talk with 107. And like I said, I'm not just going to let him speak. No, he's going to answer some serious questions. Okay. And I don't care which four I get on there. Doesn't matter. Nope. Don't care. Because, like I said from the beginning, truth is the most important sword we have against evil. Period. That's the light they can't stand. Anyway, God bless. Be safe. Be good. No fear. No fear. Be safe.